Have you ever heard of a tale so wild that it makes you question everything you thought you knew about love, loyalty, and secrets? Well, buckle up, because today, I'm taking you deep into the heart of a small African village where one woman's tangled web of relationships shook the entire community to its core. This is the story of the village mother who stayed with 3 husbands and what happened when her darkest secret came to light. Stick around because the twist in this story will leave you speechless. Let's dive in. Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by lush green hills and sparkling rivers, there lived a woman named Mama Neasha. Mama Neasha was a woman of great beauty and charm. Her laughter echoed like music through the village, and her kindness made her beloved by all. But Mama Neasha carried a secret that no one in the village could have ever guessed. She was married to not 1, not 2, but 3 husbands. The first husband, Baiko, was a strong and stoic farmer. He worked tirelessly in the fields and brought home the freshest produce for his family. He was the provider, the rock, and he loved Mama Neasha with a quiet intensity. Then there was Musa, the village storyteller. Musa had a way with words that could make anyone laugh, cry, or fall in love. He was the soul of every gathering, and Mama Neasha adored his humor and charm. And finally, there was Juma, the quiet but fiercely loyal hunter. Juma was a man of action who brought home the best game from the forest and protected his family from harm. The 3 men were unaware of each other's roles in Mama Neasha's life. She had mastered the art of managing her time and affection so perfectly that none of them suspected a thing. The village, too, was oblivious to her secret life. To everyone else, she was just Mama Neasha, the loving mother of 2 children, her firstborn daughter, Amina, and her young son, Kofi. But secrets, as they say, have a way of unraveling, and Mama Neasha's secret was no different. It all started on a sunny afternoon when Amina came home with a strange look on her face. She had been unusually quiet for days, and Mama Neasha couldn't help but notice. "Amina, my dear, is something bothering you?" Mama Neasha asked, her voice gentle but probing. Amina hesitated, her eyes darting around the room. "Mama," she finally said, "I think you should know something about Peter." Peter was Amina's boyfriend, a bright and ambitious young man who was the pride of his school. Mama Neasha had always approved of Peter. He was polite, respectful, and had a promising future. But what Amina said next shook her to the core. "Mama, I think Peter is hiding something from me. And I think it's about you." Mama Neasha's heart skipped a beat. She laughed nervously, trying to dismiss her daughter's concerns. "Oh, Amina, what could Peter possibly have to do with me? He's your boyfriend, not mine." But Amina's words lingered in her mind, planting seeds of doubt and fear. Days turned into weeks, and Mama Neasha began to notice little changes in Peter's behavior. He avoided eye contact, seemed uncomfortable around her, and often found excuses to leave whenever she entered the room. It was as if he knew something he wasn't supposed to know. Then, one fateful evening, the truth came crashing down. Peter arrived at Mama Neasha's house, looking more nervous than ever. He had come to speak to Amina, but before he could say a word, Mama Neasha pulled him aside. "Peter," she said, her voice firm but calm, "I need to know what's going on. Are you hiding something from Amina?" "From me?" Peter hesitated, his eyes filled with fear and guilt. Finally, he spoke, his words stumbling out in a rush. "Mama Neasha, I didn't mean for this to happen. I swear I didn't. But I saw you. I saw you with him." Mama Neasha's blood ran cold. "Him?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who are you talking about?" "The man in the forest," Peter said, his voice trembling. "I saw you with him. And I know he's not your husband." Mama Neasha's world came crashing down. Peter had seen her with Juma, the hunter, on one of their secret meetings in the forest. And if Peter knew, how long would it be before Amina found out? Or Baiko? Or Musa? Panic gripped Mama Neasha as she tried to think of a way to salvage the situation. But things only got worse. That night, as she sat alone in her room, there was a knock at the door. It was Musa, her second husband. "Mama Nyasha," he said, his voice filled with concern, "we need to talk." Musa's words were heavy, and the look in his eyes told Mama Nyasha that this was not a casual visit. She invited him in, her mind racing with possible explanations for his presence. As they sat down, Musa hesitated, as if trying to find the right words. Finally, he spoke. "I've heard rumors," he began, his voice steady but laced with tension. "Rumors about you and someone else." Mama Nyasha's heart sank. "Rumors? Musa, you know how people in the village talk. They have nothing better to do than create stories." But Musa shook his head. "This is different. Someone saw you, Nyasha. And it's not just talk anymore." For a moment, Mama Nyasha considered denying everything. But she knew Musa. He was a man who valued honesty and would not let this go easily. "Musa," she said, her voice trembling, "it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Musa demanded. "Because right now, it looks like you've been lying to me, to all of us." Mama Nyasha's resolve crumbled. The weight of her secret was too much to bear. "I never meant to hurt you," she confessed. "Or anyone. I found love in different ways, and I couldn't let go of any of it." Musa stared at her, his face a mixture of shock and betrayal. "3 husbands, Nyasha," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "How could you do this?" As the days passed, the truth began to unravel. Baiko and Juma were brought into the fold, each learning about the other 2 men. The village, once a place of peace and harmony, was now buzzing with whispers and judgment. Mama Nyasha's carefully constructed world was falling apart, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. The 3 men confronted her together, demanding answers. "Why, Nyasha?" Baiko asked, his voice filled with pain. "Was I not enough?" "It's not about being enough," Mama Nyasha tried to explain. "You each brought something unique into my life. Baiko, your strength and stability. Musa, your laughter and stories. Juma, your bravery and loyalty. I couldn't choose." But her words did little to ease their anger. "You betrayed all of us," Juma said, his voice cold. "And for what? To live a lie." As the weeks turned into months, the fallout from Mama Nyasha's secret continued to ripple through the village. Some people sympathized with her, understanding the complexity of human relationships. Others condemned her, calling her deceitful and selfish. Mama Nyasha herself was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life, knowing that she had hurt the people she loved most. But amidst the chaos, the surprising thing happened. Amina, who had initially been angry and confused, began to see her mother in a new light. "Mama," she said one day, "you made mistakes. But you're still my mother. And I still love you." Those words gave Mama Nyasha a glimmer of hope. She knew that healing would take time, but she was determined to rebuild her relationships and earn back the trust she had lost. And as she looked out over the village, she realized that her story, though painful, was far from over. Because sometimes, even in the face of betrayal and heartbreak, love has a way of finding its way back. Musa had heard rumors from the villagers. Whispers of a mysterious woman seen with multiple men. At first, he hadn't believed them. But now, he wasn't so sure. "Tell me it's not true," he pleaded. "Tell me you're not." Before he could finish, Baiko appeared in the doorway, his face dark with anger. "Mama Nyasha," he said, his voice low and dangerous, "what have you been hiding from us?" The confrontation was inevitable. One by one, the pieces of Mama Nyasha's carefully constructed life began to fall apart. The 3 husbands discovered the truth about each other, and their anger and betrayal knew no bounds. But the biggest shock was yet to come. As the 3 men argued and demanded answers, Amina stepped into the room, her face pale and her eyes filled with tears. "Mama," she said, her voice trembling, "is it true? Is Peter telling the truth?" Mama Nyasha couldn't speak. The weight of her lies was too heavy. All she could do was nod, her head hanging in shame. And then Amina said the words that broke her heart. "Mama, how could you? How could you betray us like this?" And with Peter. The room fell silent. The three husbands stared at Mama Nyasha in disbelief. Peter's secret was finally out. He hadn't just seen Mama Nyasha with Juma. He had been with her himself. The village erupted in chaos as the scandal spread like wildfire. Mama Nyasha's once respected name was now the subject of every conversation. The three husbands left her, each unable to forgive her betrayal. Amina broke off her relationship with Peter and moved away, unable to face the shame. Mama Nyasha was left alone, her life in ruins. But even in her darkest moments, she found a way to rise. She devoted herself to her children, working tirelessly to rebuild her life and earn back their trust. Over time, the village began to forgive, and Mama Nyasha's story became a cautionary tale about the consequences of deceit and the power of redemption. In the weeks that followed, the village's initial shock turned into quiet reflection. The scandal that had consumed their lives became a mirror, forcing each resident to examine their own relationships and choices. For Mama Nyasha, the road to redemption was long and fraught with challenges. She began by speaking openly with her children, especially Amina, who had felt the sting of betrayal most acutely. "Amina," she said one evening, her voice soft but steady, "I can't change what I've done. But I can try to make things right. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me someday." Amina's response was slow in coming. Weeks turned into months before she could even look her mother in the eye without feeling the weight of disappointment. But Mama Nyasha's perseverance began to chip away at the wall between them. She attended community meetings, participated in village projects, and dedicated herself to being a present and nurturing mother. The three husbands, meanwhile, each dealt with their emotions differently. Baiko, the stoic farmer, threw himself into his work, finding solace in the rhythm of planting and harvesting. Musa, the storyteller, left the village for a time, traveling to distant lands to process his feelings. And Juma, the hunter, retreated into the forest, seeking peace in the solitude of nature. For a time, it seemed the village would never heal from the wounds left by Mama Nyasha's deception. But human hearts are resilient, and time has a way of softening even the sharpest pain. Slowly, the villagers began to see Mama Nyasha not as a villain, but as a flawed human being who had made terrible mistakes and was now trying to make amends. Years passed, and Mama Nyasha's story became a lesson for the younger generation. Elders would gather children around the fire and recount the tale, not as a warning to shame Mama Nyasha, but as a reminder of the importance of honesty and the strength it takes to own up to one's mistakes. "It's easy to judge," one elder would say, "but harder to forgive. Yet forgiveness is what binds us as a community." Amina eventually returned to the village, bringing with her new perspectives gained from her time away. She had found success in the city, working as a teacher and mentoring young women. Her relationship with Peter was a distant memory, a painful but important chapter in her life. "Mama," she said one day, "I've learned that holding on to anger only hurts the person holding it. I forgive you." Those words marked a turning point for Mama Nyasha. With her daughter's forgiveness, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She began to smile more, to laugh with her children, and to rebuild her life with a sense of purpose. The village, too, embraced her once again, seeing her as a symbol of resilience and growth. The seasons continued to change, and life in the village returned to a sense of normalcy. Mama Nyasha became a cornerstone of the community, not because of her past, but because of how she chose to move forward. She organized events, helped settle disputes, and became a confidant for those in need. One day, Musa returned to the village. His travels had given him a new appreciation for home and for the people he had left behind. When he saw Mama Nyasha, he approached her cautiously, unsure of how she would react. "Nyasha," he said, "I've had a lot of time to think. I'm not angry anymore. I just want to understand." They talked for hours, their conversation filled with honesty and vulnerability. Musa's forgiveness was another step in Mama Nyasha's journey toward healing. Baiko and Juma, too, eventually found their own ways to make peace with the past. While none of the three men rekindled their relationships with Mama Nyasha, they each came to respect her strength and courage in facing the consequences of her actions. Decades later, Mama Nyasha's grandchildren played in the same fields where the village once whispered about her scandal. Her story was no longer a source of gossip but a cherished piece of village history. Grandma Nyasha, the children would say, "Tell us about the time you taught the whole village a lesson." And she would smile, gathering them close. "It's not about the mistakes we make," she would say, "but about how we choose to make them right. Always remember that." Mama Nyasha's tale is still told in the village today, a story of human frailty, redemption, and the enduring power of love and forgiveness. It reminds us that while we cannot erase the past, we can always strive to build a better future. So, what did you think of this shocking tale? Did you see the twists coming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales from around the world. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world of stories.